What's up? I'll read you a poem. Excuse me. I've been practicing writing every day, automatic writing. I'm trying to eventually, believe it or not, write a romance novel, sort of a romance novel. And then erotica type shit, poetry. I'm gonna see real quick. Anyway, I'm enjoying it because if you ever read the book The Divine Romance, it's really sensual and intimate and personal and sensitive. It's about like God. Anyway, I'm thinking in terms of spirituality and stuff, and writing about intimate encounters between males and females. I was really inspired, and when I was part of a program at the Boundary, I read a big portion of Divine Romance. I may have read the whole thing, but I don't think so. Divine Romance. Check this out though. You have to think of it more than, you have to read between the lines. It's really just about encountering another being. Sex is just the most personal and intimate exchange that we have with other beings. And as far as most are concerned, they would say that. Saying I celebrate my child's birthday and stuff like that is just as intimate, even more so, a lot of times. But for most people, a sexual encounter is the most intimate thing they experience, or at least that they believe they experience. And sadly, that's as far as it goes for most. A big portion of people, that's as far as it goes, as far as the intimacy they hope to experience with other beings. And some people can't imagine celebrating the birthday of their child, but they're only, and sadly there's a pretty sizable portion of people that's the only kind of intimate encounter they ever have in life, is a sexual encounter. So it's something that everybody can relate to, because we've all been there. Caught up in a moment with somebody sometime or another, for some reason, in the middle of and in the midst of some intimate exchange, and having to decide for ourselves what that means, or what we would hope it would mean. So anyway, this is called Wisdom, or Sophia. Wisdom, with her hints at what would soon be on my mind, sent swift to quiver up me timbers, with a shiver up my spine, intent to leave me less than ready for what followed just behind them, with a whimper as I'd entered in her willing this one time. At least to let me get at last a fleeting glimpse at her in light of how I'd treated her till then, a wonder she'd even invite me over, snuck me through the window in her bedroom open wide for me to climb through. I remind you, she said softly, I'm quite shy. I reassured her with a whisper as I kissed her many times that I didn't mind it, not a bit, as long as she didn't mind me trying. Only once we'd both warmed up in heat, she sat on sheets as white as she was tween the knees, went weak, it seemed, as I to each said hi. Breathing in deeply as I'd sweetly with each lick clean kissed as kindly as I'd ever seen in flicks we'd sneak and watch while getting high. As long as both her folks were fast asleep, we'd at least get by with finally enough time to get finished quick, just she and I in time. To be more tethered to each other than we'd ever meant to be, intent to go at least the distance, left us feeling incomplete. Just 'cause she seemed not half as satisfied as I'd been with what ceased to soon to see to it, she'd come completely clean of so much grease. Not yet to ride up off the rails, her crazy train of peaches creamy crashed, eventually surviving, though we'd live at least to see another day so soon to fight with all our might for next to sheesh. We'll almost nothing left once done with what we'd had in mind for weeks. To keep our bellies full of fruit, we'd planted many seeds, pristine, force-feeding each to who we'd chosen from so many happily. We had our share of disagreements, not one served though enough to be the end of what had then just finally begun as we both beat ourselves to pieces against the jagged rocks of puberty unleashed, the cracking beast of Beowulf like monster hunters tracking fiends, to find our treasure hunt forever, sail the 7 deadly seas, and never cease to keep our weapon well within our reach, outreaching toward each other who teen lovers on our hands and knees went weak, would beg for mercy never shown, and then for graciousness we'd plead, each disappointed by the time we'd be both left each up a creek without a paddle, though yet right I gave her many licks short-leashed. And as I did what she'd requested, not yet with my breath caught, keeping steady at it with my fingertips intent to tickle pink, her tiny slivers sleeving each, as into it each went till teeth with chattering as she bit into each lip lick quick shivering sheepish. Sure, her sheath fit forced my sword, went warmly welcomed into warping our perspectives as we guessed at what's appropriate for these, well, sort of things that once again had us intrigued to surely see that she was getting least her share. I tore out flooring her in heat to heave the lead, each hoofed and horned, much less a kid, much more a beast. In twisted heaps went down too many times to count that stormy night when torn from the warmth of the heavy blankets on the bed they shared. She tried to fight me off, said under breath her sister wasn't quite yet finding rest enough for us to try, with her half asleep there by our side. So what, I whispered, then I pursed my lips to kiss her. Quit, she quiet, went as quick as I had hoped she would into position, pining over her in all of what had not yet come clear into sight of prying eyes like mine popped wide to witness what she liked, to hide from me just underneath her silky satin nightgown fine. Her understanding love was landing in her lap that night, surprised to see me so enthused to catch her as she hopped up into mine. She lit up bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, her tushy pale, pure milky white, to match her face which flushed as well, blood-red cheeks chubby, blushing blind as bats straight out of hell came flying, wings spread wide in hopes to find our prey in reach, nearby enough at least to eat our fill of flies and other insects, brother cis sex incest psyched to win our prize, to see at last as I had sat there at the foot of it, inviting her to have her way with what I placed there at her feet. She shied a bit from sight, turned to the side so I could only see a slight, minute, wee bit of it when she ripped her nightie right off high. Over her pretty head it went on arms that slung it to the side, and as they had her budding breast plump caught the moonlight, oh, just right. Came through the window open wide, the wind still whooping in his eyes. It freezing cold kept her intensely driven by the need to find my core for warmth. She floored me frightened we might wake her twin. She twice told me to lie real still as finally she had found me out. Oh my, out loud a shout, she muffled cupping tight with her right hand covering her mouth, her left hand helping me to find her sweet spot, speaking in what seemed like demon tongues. There sudden right out of her silent dreams came singing softly. Sis who by her side came to, rolled over, facing toward us, did not open yet her eyes, but would in seconds flat. She joined us to my devilish delight, but made her jealous just a bit of who quick outdid who I'd liked the best of those two, till right then, right there, that night when both got tried for crimes they did not yet commit, but give it time I knew they might. Indeed, they did much worse than thought at first, exploring in my mind the possibilities so many, so much more than I would like to even try at all, quite honestly, though I do cross the line at times. On edge, still stifled with my rifle aimed at her, about to fire, horn slap out, downright dog-tired, hit each right between the eyes. Took turns in turmoil, Texas twist alike, sent tremors through their mind, a shiver up, back down my spine after I drive my final spike. There in the dark took turns at shots that learned us least to lively try and keep our eyes upon our prize, most blessed possessions, flesh and blood shed sweat to swipe, fresh broken heavy as the heavens high went to hell, so fast it feisty made for quite the big debut. There on the silver screen they shined. Why so demanding, huh? Inquiring once breath caught. She didn't try to see to which why so demanding, huh? Inquiring once breath caught, didn't try to see to which she'd wind up withered like a willow weeping crying. I don't know, I told her why, 'cause I'm low now on supply, but give me just a few more minutes and we'll pick right up your mind. Already swollen, steep in pride, a second time in quite the strive to take it all in stride, foreign fashion, attitude, intent to find a way to satisfy insatiable, her thirst unquenched and quiet, not yet to get her fill of me, and only 3, we had till 5. At 6, her folks would wake up, by then I'd be gone. At home and high, I had a sack of grass put back, hid out of sight. Also some ice, I brought a line or two for us, but they were already en route, right? Shit through our veins, straight to our brain, heart pumping, primed up, forked tongues tied, our primal instinct kicking kicking in as she had climbed the final time into my lap there at my waistline with her long legs spreading wide, wrapped tightly round me. Down she went to get at least another try at what we wouldn't be successful in. Ambitious, but denied. We wound up parting early pie, afraid we might get caught, no lie. Although so tempting with her folks there in the next room, not yet fine. With such events, still first-time jitters had us quitting just in time to dodge what might have been a bullet. Hate to think her mom might find us in the midst of what would ground us till we fully grown up, grinding. Not to mention, not just her, but I, her sister too. We'd try another night to find our way around the rope she'd shown me shiesty. A heist I heaved myself to hell and back and wide, swings heavens high, and mighty golden gates to welcome warm my foreign fried fortune find. No golden road I strode to get there, where we tangled up as tight as kudzu vines that on the creep stay intertwined in tune went twice. At least the pieces there inside her with her image on my mind, but in her heart I sensed was only what behind mine tried to hide. She saw me clearly through my bullshit. Good thing too, 'cause I had lied too many times to her who knew me well enough to know I'm kind. She wouldn't have to give much thought to doing more than what she liked. The other guys at school were pompous, proud buffoon who knew that I had been the first to catch her eye. I don't know why she hadn't replied when I'd inquired as to why she seemed to like me best, just smiled. Though time or two I might have ended up an enemy if not for how determined she was not to. I'm quite certain I'd have made her cry. Dicey, roll 'em right on snake eyes, now you die, right bout to lie. I bring you bright-eyed, bushy, tushy, squishy, push me, heart-shaped, shiny, honeycomb where I nurse nectar, nice from nests I'd stir all night, her whiny, hissy, fit, pitch, pine, and pale white, tiny, hiney, high, up in the night air, hike to cliff, hang, glide, there, summit, jumping, chimed in, kicking, jiving, running, hiding, ducking. Shit, chimed in, jiving, jucking, running, hiding, ducking, diving, fucking, fighting, flushing, flames in flight, took taking with what each would find delightful to be well within our reach, and no more hidden in plain sight. Her darkest secret hid the deepest, freed from dungeons as we diving, right in, head over my feet, in deep end, scissor kicking sight. To see her put it down on paper, what solidified that night that we would claim turf, tame, uncharted, tough terrain, till now not tried. Her thighs thick threw me for a loop, and then some, big hips swiveled, swiped. Her tiny waistline in my hand felt like I'd find my trophy wife there at the end of her sweet tunnel. Such a bright, white, blinding light that only hinted at a bit what waited on the other side. For me to find between the realms which overlap and let us find our way of wanting to align, we came to wake up realizing our deepest dreams have all come true, fulfilled our fantasies in mind, both with a fountain yet to find and also mountains high to climb. A fiery geyser, none the wiser for our studies of design, seemed as divine as sacred text worldwide is claimed. Her feisty frame fit well with mine, a perfect match, in fact acclaimed by critics, crimes committed nightly by the hand of God Almighty with his high might hammer strike. There on my high horse riding up and on in on her stumbling stifle, pumped my rifle many times before she blew her head off, sacked. To see me drench her in the best of all I had to give, unkind I French kissed tender, then I tongue-tied, titty twisted, whipped her whiny. As she whimpered, went to pieces while I sliced and diced her pie, puny petite, few times a week we'd wind up white from getting too high. Going too low on my totem pole, she'd perch and flirt and fly as high as ever. I the bottom rung though, tried hard not to cry. Each morning early dawn, first light, we'd had to split up, kiss goodbye. Breathe in deeply as I'd sweetly with each lick clean, kissed as kindly as I'd ever seen in flicks. We'd sneak and watch while getting high. As long as both the folk were fast asleep, we'd at least be getting by with finally enough time to get finished quick, just she and I in time to be more tethered to each other than we'd ever meant to be, intent to go at least the distance, left us feeling incomplete. Just 'cause she seemed not half as satisfied as I'd been with what ceased too soon to see, to which she'd come clean, not completely yet at ease, with even letting me intrigued by her intended to complete, at least come running once we're done with cleaning up and studying. For pop quiz, cheat sheet, jumping up and into bed, she'd shoving me, said I was pushy. Whoopsie daisy, don't be mad at me, she'd freaked. At least a fleeting glimpse in passing, if so lucky I might be, I'd get to see much more of her than she would want to see of me. I felt so certain till surprised to find her eyeing me the same way that I would her when I wound up once or twice where I'd need to be. To get a bird's eye view of her from where I saw it all in sync, we seemed to be only as separate as we'd ever need to be, just so to relish in the pleasures of such delicate cuisine. Buffet was all a beast could eat. I feast my eyes on, sink my teeth into the meat as sweet as any I would ever between my teeth grind down to nothing, swallowed whole by her who'd nurture ours in need. Up to maturity she'd nurse him with the nectar of uniquely what was only ours to share, no other lovers ever leaving any trace at all behind of what we had in mind to be, at least as big as it would take to see the small minds falling free. Up to maturity she'd nursing, with the nectar of uniquely what was only ours to share, no other lovers ever leaving. Yet, any trace at all behind of what we'd had in mind to be, at least as big as it would take to see the small minds falling free. You take a load off Annie, take a load for free. You take a load off Annie, and you put the load right on me. You put the load right on me.